Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys, aka the Sonic's Game Gear Marathon for our YouTube channel. So yes, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Game Gear / Sega Master System, or in this case, 8-bit rendition of Sonic 2, whatever you call it. So anyways, last time we managed to tackle through Green Hills Zone, Gimmick Mountain Zone, and Scrambled Egg Zone Act 1. And today for this episode, we're about to continue on and move on to Act 2 of Scrambled Egg Zone. And as you can see there, I've actually performed a shortcut to actually bypass the most annoying section. And speaking of such though, this is by far the hardest level in the entire game for most people, because even then that particular tubes maze right there, as you can clearly see, I've managed to skip the entire portion of it, because let me tell you, that section is annoying. Like, you're gonna have to go through all the entirety of the maze. And then once you figure out the shortcut, like I performed right there, then you can completely ignore that part and avoid these little instant death spikes. Even then though, that will be really recommendable if you have a first time playing for this. So, but this here is pretty tricky because you have to deal with a lot of timing requirements, especially notice above that, you know, if you're trying to stand onto that moving platform over there, sometimes it just keeps going. So even then, in order to actually perfect it, it's all about just memorization and all that kinds of stuff in order to actually just get into the actual platform itself. But if you messed up at one point, you will fall down to the spikes and you instantly lose a life. So even then, expecting if you have no rings. So there we go. Act 2 is now completely done by within under a minute and 30 seconds. Even though, still, this is by far the most hardest level in the entire game for me. We're just gonna say that much right now. But thankfully though, Act 3 is not much of a pain, unlike Act 2 was to me though, because even then thanks to I managed to achieve the shortcut, that I managed to, bypass the annoying part in Act 2. So, but if you're first time playing for this level though, you might as well get confused and lost in that place. Even then, that is also a lot of trial and error as well, don't forget. That, just use a shortcut, I highly recommend. So, anyways, in Act 3, in Scrambled Egg Zone, this is gonna be the final level if you do not get all 5 of the Chaos Emeralds, because there's actually a 6th and a final Chaos Emerald that's actually in this level. You want to know why? Because, well, assumingly, if we actually get into the actual boss in this level. So even then, that's, it's going to be a final time we're going to be doing the platforming section before the actual boss battle alone. So even then, as soon as we actually reach those specific tubes, here we are, against Silver Sonic? Okay, Silver Sonic was apparently making an appearance in this game. I think this Silver Sonic, I almost said Metal Sonic for some reason. Silver Sonic is actually a little bit more easier in this game this time around as opposed to in the Mega Drive counterpart. Because for one, he doesn't have spikes when he turns into a ball form. What you can do here is that you can actually reflect it back, so even though he can, like, do a little bounce technique, so even though that's easily without doubt the easiest total pushover version of Silver Sonic. But again, it's more likely a prequel to Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive, but still, sometimes it's really easy. So, as you can see, he managed to get the Chaos Emerald out of this. So that being said, 6 Chaos Emeralds have already collected. So yeah, assuming if you actually get all 6 of these Chaos Emeralds, you get yourselves the true final zone in the game, Crystal Egg Zone. Oh gee, I wonder how this place is gonna turned out to be. Well, everything else is all crystal clear and all that stuff, so even then though, yeah. And by the way, for that Scrambled Egg theme right there, if you can clearly tell on the theme song that you can clearly hear for about a few seconds ago, that's actually already reused in the intro sequence in the Game Gear version. So even then though, I really do appreciate about the fact that the soundtrack looks really good. Even then though, that's the only good part about this game for me, but even then though, that we'll discuss more details as soon as we actually proceed to the very end of the game. In fact, we're almost at the very end of the game already, so even then though, yeah. So the first act is super duper quick. I managed to beat it under 35 seconds, and then once I beat that particular time score, then it gives me a bigger amount of score points. So, unfortunately though, you don't get an extra life once you actually bypass 5,000 or so points, unlike it does in Sonic the Hedgehog 1. But I digress though, since I got plenty of extra 1-ups, and there's no continues I've got, so even then though, that if I lost about a couple of extra lives, then I pretty much have to do the entire game again, so even though that won't be that fun. So again, if you don't collect all 6 of these chaos emeralds, you get yourselves a bad ending. So even then though, I'll talk more details on the ending results on that particular time once we actually finish the main game first. So even then though, for the most part, we just have to concentrate on Crystal Exile, which I have to admit though, this level is a little bit more easier compared to Scrambled Egg Zone because, for one, there aren't any enemies involved, which is kind of odd. And secondly, no gimmicks. Even then though, that is just a simple, straightforward level. So there's only one gimmick in general, which heavily borrows back from Gimmick Mountain Zone, and that was the form of these little bully thing platforms, which very much like how it does in a Gimmick Mountain Zone, is that you have to press the right pad on the control pad until you actually keep on going, which I found was kind of odd in this game, because even then I was so used to with the Scrap Brains controls about this kinds of stuff in Sonic 1, that if I manage to go even slightly faster, then I can simply jump up and then no problem. So, oh yeah, this part is so precise right there, because sometimes these things constantly move all over the place. Even then, if you do manage to get your angles jumped right enough, then you should be able to be fine. So I'm quite surprised at how the fact that I haven't got to this point when I was a kid, because even then that the only point I actually got into when back in the day was actually forms of Scrambled Egg Act 2, because oh my god, I can't stand Act 2 of Scrambled Egg Zone. But hey, at least as far as thanks to the shortcuts that I've now finally achieved, so that means I'll just make this level a total easier on that particular regard. So anyway though, but yeah, this is what this particular zone, as you can see right now, is only required if you actually did manage to get all 6 of the Chaos Emeralds. But again, if not, then you won't get to this level. So instead, that what happens was though is that after you defeat Silver Sonic and you get yourselves just only 1 Chaos Emerald, for example, that if you manage to finish Scrambled Egg Zone Act 3, you get yourselves a bad ending. So even end up that again, I'll explain the details on that. So oh gosh. I'm doing really bad at this particular section, because even then though, it kind of reminds me like an icicle-themed level, but even then though, it's nothing usually compared to the snowy-themed level once we get into Triple Trouble for Sonic Triple Trouble on the Game Gear, as well as especially noticeable in, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the Game, no, not for the Game Gear, Mega Drive, I should say. And that's it, that was the final time we're going to be seeing the signpost right there, because even then though, we now approach into the final level in the game, aka the final boss in the game in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Game Gear / Master System. So even then, let's face against with Dr. Ivory Robotnik. So for this final boss encounter, it's actually a little bit more easy in terms of stuff, but sometimes it can be a little bit too much pace breaker, I have to admit though, because for one, it's basically more likely a waiting game, because even then you have to wait until when his attacks are finished. Because basically you have to get used to with these tube stuff again ever since Scrambled Egg Zone. Well, thankfully the tubes aren't that much of a problem in this level this time around as opposed to Scrambled Egg Zone for me. But even then though, you have to wait until when his attacks are finished. Like for instance, that he's constantly shooting out these plasma electrical stuff and what have you, as you can see on screen. And then occasionally that at one second or two is that he'll constantly sending out the electric shock coming from the screen, as well as these little lightning bolts here and there. So even then you have to dodge a lot of stuff, because again, you have no rings whatsoever, so it's your chance to actually survive this. So, but if you die on that fight, then you have to redo the whole sequence again. So even then, no. Well, thankfully though, I did give this boss fight a little bit of credit for, is that you don't have to deal with this really tough platforming section. So even then, though, it's just a very simple, straightforward final boss. So, yeah, it's nothing usually compared to the Death Egg robots from the Mega Drive version. And speaking of such, though, there's no Super Sonic in this game either. So even then, because, it's a prequel to the Mega Drive version. Let's go say that much right now, even though I said, like, countless amount of times before I said this in this playthrough alone. So, yeah, I believe sometimes it can take a while to actually just get a strike on him, because even then though, because again, it can be a little bit random at times, especially noticeable, although it's not too much random, but it's just how you have to wait patiently until when these things are about to clear off. So even then though, that once you get the timing right, then you should be able to actually get a hit on him. So I believe you can only hit him like 8 times, and even then though, yeah. In fact, this might be about time, naturally, for actually fighting against Robotnik for reals this time. So even then, let's see if we could actually save Tails for reals. So, there we go. that's it for Robotnik. So, although before we actually exit this off, we need to actually let this thing to be gone forever. And I believe that's gone forever, so let's get out of there. And we can zip bypass this little tube. And there we go. That was it for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Game Gear / Sega Master System. Ah, great. Looks like Dr. Robotnik's got away yet again, which I'm sure enough I'll get him next time, see if that won't going to happen. And look at that, we rescued Tails. Hey, how's it going, my friend? Even though sorry for a better late than never syndrome, but hey, at least I got all 6 of these Chaos Emeralds, but hey, at least I did manage to save you. And I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on here. Probably, I don't know. But anyways, I did manage to save him nonetheless. And that was it, folks. That was it for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Game Gear. And Master System version as well. So, if you do manage to rescue Tails in the final boss in the game, the true final boss in the game, this is the best ending of the game. But if you don't collect these 6 Chaos Emeralds, the bad ending, what it does is that basically just Sonic is gonna run around, or just run straight forward, and that's all that is the only difference between these 2 endings. But as far as the good ending is concerned, it still does the exact same thing, but except that Tails is actually joining with me. So, and also the music starts to alternate it, so even then though, that it's pretty cool nonetheless, but hey, at least it's better than nothing. So, in addition to a staff credit sequence here and there as well. And the final thing is that, if you get a bad ending, once you get to the very end of the staff credits, what it does is just basically just showcase the silhouette of, or in this case, the little image of Tails, meaning that, am I missing something? And then, once you actually get yourselves the best ending of the game, you get yourselves not only Tails, but Sonic in a picture of the disguise as well. Like, you see why just a moment until at the very end of this playthrough. So, yeah, overall on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Game Gear, it's not as great compared to the Mega Drive version, I had to admit though. But even then though, that as you can probably guess it by now, although the visuals do look amazing, much like it does in Sonic 1, even though there are some things I must point things out though, when it comes to the negative things about this game though, is that for one, Hang Glider is a little bit terrible to control. Also the level layout is actually a little bit more tricky, and it's more like a Kaizo or anything like that. And also the boss fights are significantly harder than the likes of Sonic 1. In fact, one thing I had to point things out there is that the only major gripe I have with the game, oh my god, the difficulty. The difficulty in this game increased ridiculously high compared to Sonic 1. Like, you cannot believe how many times I died during this particular game so far. Like, let's say I died about a couple of times worth knowing for, but still, this game is probably its definition of the hardest Game Gear Sonic game I've ever played. But still, the zones are very unique, much like it does in Sonic 1, and also the music is very, very upbeat as well, and also the visuals do look great for the Game Gear. And even the controls, well, it may take a while to get used to. Sometimes the slippery physics can be a little bit of a problematic, at least from my experience anyway. But apart from that though, it's an okay game. So even then though, if you want to actually get your experience on this game, you should get it on the Sonic Gems collection. And even especially noticeable in the Master System version, which every now and then, the Master System version also came out on Nintendo Wii's Virtual Console version as well. So yeah, that was it for Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Game Gear. This is me, Sonic the Hedgehog. And tune in next time of the Sonic's Game Gear Marathon. Next up, Piglet is about to tackle through Sonic Chaos. So yeah, things should be interesting. So see you guys then. Bye.